So finally we'll be developing a new video on this channel this year probably, which is basically him looking back at the first mistakes he's done in the year 2024. But everything he says in this video has a controversy surrounded to it, or it is basically contradicting his own words.
There's been more business.
He says he launched multiple weaknesses, and of course
we'll improvise.
Actually doing better. And
Unexpected plot twist. Improv performance.
Situation in this one
Shiny stuff.
actually not going to be a good father. Reflecting on things in this video is judgment. It's perspective.
Mamma mia! Romantic. I'll roll my every story needs drama. Up we go, Carol. Mamma mia! Romantic. Figure out. Time for some crowd work.
yes,
We'll
my
improvise.
daughter, Esme Agdonfall, is the father.
I'll roll my
And father is very much up to him. But also,
this one.
Huh?
It's very encouraging to see his daughter and now having local audience in most of her village. I feel bad for her because she might face a lot of consequences of Logan Paul's actions beyond what the person Logan Paul is. But he
I'll roll another crowd.
like it for the entire that's how low gun can go. Just from the beginning of his daughter's birth, he keeps on making blunders. He talks more about his wife and his family, but it's kind of boring, and we don't hear such things from Logan Paul. The most we hear from him is scamming more people. In a way, then he talks about his younger brother, Jake Paul, who recently beat Mike Tyson, a man who literally needed a wheelchair to walk.
specifically my little brother Jake, because my God, that guy is rich and famous as.
He praises his brother that he beat Mike Tyson, but we all know that it was a scripted event, and the reason Jake Paul is rich is because he played in the scripted show.
My brother is absolutely killing it. He just beat Mike Tyson on Netflix with 65 million people watching.
65 million people watching a young person beat an old man.
So much attention and volume that he literally broke the internet. He just continues to elevate the sport of boxing, prove everyone wrong.
He didn't prove anyone wrong. Everyone knew the result beforehand.
It's confusing how a guy who's doing this has now beaten one of the greatest fighters ever.
Beating the greatest fighter ever in a position in which he needs a wheelchair to walk around isn't an achievement. It's a disgrace and it's pathetic.
The kid cannot be outworked. I am honored to call myself Jake Paul's brother, and
Firstly, he ain't a kid, and you're of course honored to call yourself his brother because you both are strong. He's a bit less strong than you, but it's still a disgrace. After that, Logan also says that he's coming back on Netflix or WWE, so probably we can see Logan Paul fighting someone.
we got some big things coming to 2025. So just be ready for that. Speaking of Netflix,
Mamma mia!
WWE has moved to Netflix, and I'm going with them.
So probably they're going to. They are not in After that, he says that he's viral as if he's a trending topic.
This year, I continue to show why I am the absolute best at this sport. I'm built for wrestling, and why I will become world champion. It's because I'm viral, bro.
But you are viral because you make stupid moves, you trigger people and get viral. After that, he says the biggest lie of them all. He says that he's humble.
I'm also humble, extremely humble, but also viral.
Of course, you're humble, scamming your own fans, laughing at people finding molds in your product, and harassing a random employee. Very humble indeed.
He's
viral, guys, I think something's wrong with this guy. You already remember his real profession.
And yeah, I lost my United States Championship this year to LA Knight in my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, but whatever, dude. 2 L's make a W. L, L, W.
I don't know what he's talking about in this one, but 2 L's doesn't make a W. It makes a bigger L, which you are a little bit. After that, he praises Prime. Prime has sponsored a lot of people this year. It has also signed a lot of celebrities and artists. They're pretty cool, I guess, but it's still a stupid drink. Yes, a caffeine filled to late drink. That's all everyone wants.
You want to see crazy? I can show you crazy. Please welcome one of my personal favorite YouTubers looking to an IKT. 29! He was once in love with Tank. He called me Mr. Rogers of YouTube every once in a while. This year is considerably worse. I'm the guy who faked cancer.
Boogie has desperately tried to manipulate his entire audience with lies and scams. Once a YouTube millionaire, Boogie is now on the verge of complete bankruptcy.
Give me some money.
Today, let's explore the downfall of one of YouTube's OG creators, Boogie298. But before we dive into Boogie's wild, chaotic life, we must start from the very beginning. The self-proclaimed Mr. Rogers of YouTube, yes, he gave himself that name, quickly garnered a fan base with his self-deprecating humor. I, like many others, initially found out about Boogie because of his iconic French character, where he would play a stereotypical angry neckbeard gamer who would go on these crazy outbursts.
Let me show you breast.
While the Francis character drew a shit ton of attention online, it was really Boogie's lovable and genuine personality that made people gravitate towards him as a person. Because alongside these skits, Boogie would upload gaming and some of his most personal videos, winning over the hearts of many with his stories of hardship and self-growth.
A lot of people like to make fun of me. They like to call me fat, or tell me how stupid I am, or how I'm forever alone, how I'm miserable and alone for the rest of my life. I just wanted all that bad shit, all that brokenness, and all those memories to go away.
Boogie would end up connecting with one of his fans on a more, let's just say, personal level.
I met Des through my YouTube channel. When I met her, we decided that we had to pursue it, and we did.
And in 2013, he tied the knot.
Des, will you marry me?
At this point, Boogie had been the happiest he'd ever
The
been.
show
He had a loving wife, a diehard fan base, and his dream job. The dude was basically a household name, somehow making his way onto a Super Bowl commercial. Fast forward a few years later, July
25th, 2017, I will undergo gastric bypass. And for me, it is one of the last demons I have left to slay.
You see, while Boogie's career was at an all-time high, his physical condition and the stress of the internet hate took a toll on his marriage.
You know, we're just going to move on from there as exes, I guess. That's what we already are. The ring is off and it's over.
That's in a lot of ways kept Boogie's life together. So after they divorced, Boogie's life began to crumble. The cracks in his character started to show, and his fans began to see a real him. Not Boogie, but rather Stephen Williams.
Okay, masking completely off. This is Steve Williams talking. I know I was fat. I know.
The show begins.
lose the weight. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a pervert. He's got to lick them right where they peach on. Look, I work for you. One's for me, one's not. Hillary taught me, giving her the real. She is ours, but the Hillary never taught me. Hurting somebody else is quite literally the opposite of who and what I am. I will. I'll knock you the hell out. Floor you.
Now, I can totally understand why people might not like Twitch Boogie, but I will say his stroke game is pretty immaculate. Look, game recognized game, I'm gonna just leave it at that. All jokes aside, the kind, genuine persona he played on his YouTube channel gave way to a rude, arrogant, and downright disturbing version of Boogie on live stream. Boogie described this dichotomy in a Reddit post saying, I like to think YouTube is the person that I try to be, whereas Twitch is much closer to who I really am. During a live stream, he made pretty disturbing comments about his ex-girlfriend who passed away due to cancer.
And, yeah, so keep her. And now she's dead. The girl is dead, my mom is dead, everyone I know is like, wait, the girl died? Yeah, okay. Died at 39 of, like, she had lung cancer. She had breast cancer, and they beat the breast cancer, but then the treatment for the breast cancer gave her lung cancer. Oh, God. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, I'm sorry that you go through that. Yeah, that's okay. Alright. I mean, I didn't go through it. I'm still watching it.
One of the craziest Boogie live stream moments has to be when he explained to his audience that he chose not to have kids in fear of abusing them.
I'm not that different from my mom. I'm not that different from my dad. I've never molested anybody. You know, I didn't beat my kids. I chose not to have kids so I wouldn't do those things. Wow.
How wholesome. There's an entire laundry list of these awful Boogie live stream clips. And because of that, Boogie would get heavily scrutinized. Rather than taking even a sliver of accountability, Boogie always seems to rely on excuses to justify his actions. More specifically, picking up card. And he plays it all the time.
This is the reason I went through gastric bypass surgery and I lost my best friend, which was food. Then, 2 months later, I went through a divorce and I lost my other best friend and my entire family. Wife, the only family I ever really had or was ever really close to. And I lost them in mine.
People go through trauma, and I personally can completely sympathize with it, but that doesn't give anyone the forever excuse to do anything they want. When these victim card declines, he'll claim that they're just edgy jokes and are often taken out of context.
My taste for edgy comedy had gotten me in trouble, specifically when it came to live streaming. Some of the jokes that I would make on live stream were being taken as serious and actually stuff that I meant.
Don't get me wrong, I can appreciate an edgy joke. I think most rational people can. At the end of the day, they're just jokes. That's not the problem. The issue I and many others have more so lies in the hypocrisy of it all. Remember, Boogie was seen as the Mr. Rogers of the internet. At least that's what he wanted to portray. The nice guy who stood up for women's rights, BLM, and various other activist organizations.
And nobody's below anybody else. We're all just human beings. It doesn't matter if you're short or tall, fat or skinny, rich or poor. We should all be treated equally. We must treat people of color better and more fairly in this nation.
People started seeing through all the virtue signaling with clips like these.
I'm a black person.
Probably not glad to hear you're still black. And thanks for 2 months of support, man. That's a lot of money, I guess, for a person of color, or is it not? I don't know. We must treat people of color better and more fairly in this nation.
Again, I want to reiterate that I personally, as a black man, do not think Boogie is racist. I just think he's a hypocrite. You can't act holier than thou and virtue signal on your YouTube channel just for you to say edgy jokes on stream. You can't play both sides. Needless to say, this kind of behavior offended and disappointed even Boogie's most die-hard fans, feeling as if they were betrayed and subscribed to a totally different person. Now, prior to all this, Boogie wasn't really involved in much controversy, except for his god-awful tendency to take a middle ground approach on serious topics, often earning him the label of fence-sitter. He'd talk about anything from the Gamergate situation to mental health issues. The absolute irony of the title alone is diabolical. His desire to be the widely beloved centrist bit him in the ass over and over again. On the H3H3 podcast, a left-leaning podcast, he managed to somehow upset both the pro-gay marriage and anti-gay marriage camps when he suggested that we should wait before allowing gay marriage in order to avoid backlash.
Like, I always believe, hey, we should have same-sex marriage. I love same-sex marriage. Let's do it. The problem is, try to get it done right now, because we get a huge backlash. Okay? So let's try to do it for 20 years, 10 years. and let's see if we can avoid the backlash, right? Let's slowly, methodically change minds.
This Bed-Stutter reputation was amplified when, again, he somehow managed to take a neutral stance on one of the most horrific and darkest chapters in human history, the Holocaust.
Nothing is fine. The Holocaust is horrible, absolutely horrible. But some good came out of it. If you think about it, a lot of some good came from all of that. In that health science was advanced many years. And that's one of the things that kind of made me have the mentality that I had.
I'm an idiot. Look, I couldn't agree more, Stephen. He would later double down on his statement, saying that his statements on stream were taken out of context. Obviously, people weren't buying this as an excuse, so Boogie being Boogie tried to rationalize his behaviors by saying that he truly believed that there were legitimate medicinal advancements to come from this event, which couldn't be any more wrong. A quick Google search would have cleared that right up, and when all else fails, well, just blame it on your high school history teacher. You see, Boogie became everything he stood against. He became an angry, manipulative creep who got caught in what seems like every lie he's ever told. And all that would be documented on the Sam and Tolkien subreddit, a subreddit that made it its life's mission in exposing Boogie for the person he really is. Sam and Tolkien subreddit was really the beginning of the end for Boogie. You see, before Boogie adopted the persona of the Mr. Rogers of the internet, he used to code websites. Well, it turns out that Boogie owned and ran a bunch of websites himself, where he would share his opinions on sex toys. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I mean, it doesn't align with his YouTube persona, but to each their own, right? But this is where things get a little wild. On one of Boogie's long blog rants, he says, "The fact that I'm crazy is no stranger to the good staff at Evil Squared, nor is it a strange concept to anyone that reads the site or has viewed my videos. I am, for all intents and purposes, batshit crazy. This past week or so has been different for me. This next week will be doubly so. Out into the real world, looking for real work, at a real workplace, hopefully landing a job this week. I'm excited. At the same time, these normal activities remind me exactly how insane I am. I wonder if people interviewing me know what's going on under the surface. While I'm applying for a job, entering your data, or taking your orders, or speaking to your customers, do you know that during the previous weekend we all got together, smoked weed, drank, and does she know how many orgies I've been to or arranged? Does she know how many girls I've watched work to myself? Does she know that I have internet sites that are so disorienting that it would make Satan blush? Does she know that I filmed more sex than she's likely had? Does she know that I am a monster?" While posts like these are most likely just an exaggeration, it still sheds Boogie in a completely different light than his YouTube persona. It really goes to show how disgusting this degenerate really is. Sorry, on the same HBHD podcast that I mentioned earlier, Boogie would unknowingly reveal that he was dabbling in some sugar baby website. And on that website, he would meet a 20-year-old woman. And not much longer, people would put two and two together and suppose he and a woman by the name of Lucy Fox were dating, and that they met on a sugar dating website, Seeking. Boogie would eventually deny all these allegations on Twitter with a tweet saying, "Boogie paid that girl. That would work, I guess. Also treating her nice and being cool to her and being a good, successful, happy person, that should be attractive too. It's a lot cheaper too." Lucy Fox, the cam girl in question, would later upload a video claiming that she was in fact a cam girl that Boogie paid. She also alleged that Boogie would constantly cry about his problems, was verbally abusive, and on top of it, barely paid her anything despite being a sugar baby. Which is quite the oxymoron if I do say so myself.
I was pretty much taking care of them every day. You know what I do for a job that, I have to be at home in order to be on cam. Well, I couldn't do that because every time I try to leave the house, you scream and yell at me. You don't mean shit to me. You don't mean shit. You're just a piece of shit. It got to the point where every night I go home in tears. And the fact that I know that he's doing this to other girls that are dumber than me makes me very upset.
Boogie would respond to her allegations in the worst way possible by saying that
She was lying through her fucking teeth. Listen to that video. Go watch the video. She literally complains about money 90% of the time of the video.
Boogie, that's the point. You met her off of a sugar dating website. What did you expect? He would eventually go on to Drama Alert to express the same sentiments, claiming that he doesn't date cam girls, and that he was leaning into the meme.
It sounds like in the video that she's like low on money. Has she been asking you for money? She's a girl who's always needed a little help from time to time. At the end of the video, she referred to herself as your favorite hooker or something like that. Is she a hooker, or what is she referring to?
That's a joke that I like. There's a bunch of people on the internet that when they found out I dated a girl, they're like, "Oh, she clearly must be a hooker. She clearly must be doing it for money." I leaned into the meme, which I guess was a huge mistake. I'd always joke, I am banging hookers and having sex with hookers, which I don't know. I just leaned into the meme.
With the already low public opinion on cam girls, Boogie had no trouble manipulating his fans into believing that Lucy Fox was just another gold digger rather than a victim of Boogie's manipulative behavior. That is, until Twitter got a hold of this story. Eventually, users would find out that Boogie had a sugar dating account under the username Southern King, with a bio that was full of lies, saying that his net worth is $500,000 with an annual income of $150,000. And what I found most interesting is his About Me section, reading, "Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Me. I am a big dude recovering from a divorce and gastric bypass surgery. I am using this site as a way to meet someone who can look past my faults to find the man I am underneath, which is pretty awesome. By the way, I do social media for a living and I make a killing. I travel, I see the world, I hang out with famous internet folks. I love what I do. I own a mirror. I know what I look like, but I promise, I am worth it."
Shut up, bitch.
At this point, the proof was in the pudding. With no other option but to admit to using a sugar dating website, Boogie would finally do so by saying that he did in fact meet Lucy Fox on Seeking, but don't get it twisted now. She was the only girl that he met on there, and that once he discovered the caliber of girl he met on there, he was kind of done with using the site, as if he, of all people, is above it. The Southern King desired no further dealings with the peasant sex workers no longer, as he was a changed man. A noble one at that. But to absolutely no one's surprise, Boogie's Seeking profile showed that it was still active, meaning Boogie was in fact still looking for girls 20 years younger than him.
It's areas that are local and ready to go out. They'll go to dinner with you, they'll go to a show with you, maybe they'll come back to your place.
Someone on the Reddit would call Boogie out and ask, if you stopped using the website, then why are you still updating your profile pictures? Boogie would then respond by saying, everyone must have just misunderstood him. He claims that yeah, he is done dating people off the site, but still uses it, just not in the traditional sense. He uses the site to quote-unquote window shop, as if it's some meat market or something.
But then it's window shopping, right? Like any other meat market.
Despite all the evidence, Boogie would continue to lie about paying for hookers until he finally caved.
I like beautiful women. I like to hang out with beautiful women.
Bro spends my salary every year to bust nuts. Jesus Christ, that's brutal. This is just the beginning of Boogie's web of lies. Whether it's him saying that he's clinically diagnosed with bipolar and PTSD, just for him to later be questioned and say that he's never been diagnosed. Or when he promised to donate all his money he made on stream to charity, just for him to then have a complete BS excuse on why he didn't and lied about it.
Give me an opportunity to manipulate you right now. I was going to do a big charity stream for my birthday, but I feel like, number one, I don't know how to raise the money without directly collecting myself.
He lied so compulsively that he couldn't even tell the truth about a car accident.
After posting a video to Twitter that appeared to show himself vlogging while driving, not paying attention to the road, he quickly found himself in a multitude of criticism. That same day, Boogie would announce to Twitter that he was hit in a car accident, making him crash into a ditch. People would become outraged under the assumption that Boogie actually caused the accident himself due to his distracted driving. To make matters worse, Boogie had already been confirmed to be a liar multiple times before this point, making it very hard for people to believe him now. Boogie will respond to the scrutiny by making up this elaborate story, explaining on Twitter how he had absolutely nothing to do with the accident. He described the accident as a big pileup caused by a semi-truck driver that had a stroke, but rest assured that everybody was okay. The good old people over at Sam and Toki found this very fishy, considering that there were seemingly no stories, articles, or news coverage on an accident where Boogie was located. And that's when Boogie posts his version of proof by posting a picture of a ticket that he had gotten from a cop. I don't know why he didn't take a picture of the supposed pileup to prove his innocence, but to each their own. Boogie's proof would actually turn out to be a pretty self-incriminating piece of evidence, only because the code that was seen on the ticket was actually for distracted driving, aka vlogging yourself while driving, the very thing that people were accusing him of. He would later upload an entire video to his YouTube channel to dispel the rumors in the worst possible way.
Some people have said me filming that video has caused the accident, so to think that that's what caused the accident is silly. I should have never been on my phone to begin with. Not because it caused the accident, because that's not what caused the accident.
Now, none of us can truly know if Boogie was lying about this or not, saying that none of us were there, actually. But I do find this entire situation incredibly sus. Throughout 2018 and 2019, Boogie would constantly talk about his financial issues on Twitter, desperately trying to portray himself as the struggling YouTuber who barely makes ends meet, because the vast majority of his videos were being demonetized. He tweeted saying, "If If I knew I could do this job another 20 years, I wouldn't worry about it. But I'll be surprised if I'm still able to do it this time next year. Whatever I earn in the next 12 months is going to be it. Then it's back to working retail. So of course I want to earn some savings. Now, despite having 4.5 million subscribers and a dedicated fan base that regularly donates to him, Boogie for some reason thought he needed to get a retail job. Someone make it make sense. But what made this situation even more confusing was that just a week prior to this tweet, Joseph about making 6 figures a year. It's even crazier. Shortly after telling everyone he wanted to have to work a regular retail job, he begged his audience to donate to him despite making 6 figures a year, apparently so he could buy a Tesla Model X, a luxury car that sits just around $100,000. No.
If you guys want to help me pay for Tesla, please go ahead and dig deep. Make sure it's like free freaking Tesla. Reach down in your pockets and give me $100,000 tonight.
He eventually buys that Tesla to then go on and claim that he never begged his audience for money and never even bought a Tesla.
My porn fans know this. I don't drive a Tesla. And to this day, I think it's still fascinating. People think I bought that car.
People believe that you bought that car because you told them you bought that car. At this point, Boogie was being called out left and right on all of his BS. One of the many criticisms of Boogie's character is his overall manipulative behavior.
I think, and this is my opinion, I think when the time comes, I'm gonna have no problem with trigger. Like once I fully give up hope, once I'm fully ready to go, once the internet has forgotten about me, you guys don't need me anymore, I'm not needed around anymore. And if I haven't found a wife, if I haven't had kids, or something like that, haven't had a life, let's go alone. I have a problem. As people are starting to catch on, false sense of hope that he can turn his life around, that he can lose weight, work therapy, and get better both physically and mentally. But this is also a manipulative tactic to garner sympathy from his audience, to look like an inspiration, almost to guilt his audience into watching and supporting his content while he's on this what seems like never-ending journey of self-improvement. However, Boogie is probably never going to change because this is his bread and butter. This is how he's made a living for over a decade at this point, so why stop now? Around the same time in 2018, Boogie would make constant threats on social media, threatening to unalive himself. And because of that, a bunch of Boogie's concerned fans actually feared for Boogie's health and wellness and did the right thing by calling the police for a wellness check.
Fayetteville Police Department, may I help you?
Yeah, I would like to report that my friend is talking about me. He is inside on the internet.
What is your friend's name?
Stephen Williams, and he's been threatening the internet for about a year.
But how does Boogie respond to fans being concerned for him? Yep, you guessed it. He calls them evil and terrible people, and that they all should seek help.
They call in like welfare checks. They call in like these welfare checks, telling them that I'm like and stuff. That's how bad my invasion of privacy is. Who does this? Who calls in a fake welfare check to begin with? Nobody. This is inhumane.
At this point, Boogie was fully aware of all the criticisms he faced online. So in an effort to look like the victim, Boogie messaged a user in the Sam and Toby subreddit saying that he was being relentlessly harassed by users in that very same subreddit, trying to convince the user by saying, "Get away from that hive mind. They are sad, scary, dangerous people. They have swatted me. I have been swatted twice this month already." Eventually, one of the Sam and Toby moderators went through all the moderation logs in the month of December to see if he could find any sort of evidence that would back Boogie's claims, but found nothing. So Boogie comes up with another blatant lie, tweeting, "Obviously I have no way of knowing who swatted me and never said that I did. I just said I got swatted twice last month, once when I was away at the Game Awards and another over Christmas break." However, Boogie provided no evidence to back up his claims. Reddit users skeptical of his story took it upon themselves to check the publicly available Fayetteville police records for December. And again, they found no reports or records indicating that Boogie had been swatted during that month despite what Boogie claims. Then that led them to press Boogie about his lies. So Boogie decided to come up with a plan. What was his master plan, you ask? Lie. Yes, his plan was to lie, something he'd never done before. According to him, he has a friend in the FBI.
I have a friend who works for the FBI. It's not the cat.
He also said that the FBI informed him they would keep all reports of swatting confidential to prevent the so-called trolls from being able to access that information and gain the satisfaction they seek.
And I asked him how to deal with the online harassment that I get from a certain subreddit, from kiwi farms, from places like that. And he told me the only way to fight that stuff back is to expose those people for what they really are.
At this point, it's pretty obvious that Boogie is just trying to cover up a lie with another lie. So the Sam and Told Me subreddit reached out to the police department, and this is what the police department had to say. No records are ever purged from our system, and there has never been, nor will there ever be an understanding with police or dispatch to omit calls from public records. Boogie, being more desperate than ever to come up on top of the situation, plays his ultimate trap card. This was his master plan all from the start. He claimed that he wanted people to discover he was lying about the swatties, to bait the so-called trolls into publicly admitting that they were harassing him.
I lied about when I got swatted. I actually got swatted in like June, and then again in November, and then like I think in October. I don't remember the exact dates, but in a private conversation, I told somebody that I got swatted in December. And I said that in a private conversation because I knew he would leak it, and I wanted them to leak it.
He admitted to deliberately making false accusations against his critics in his local police department, accusing them of committing a federal crime. When this was pointed out for how extremely degenerate this was, he DM'd someone on Twitter saying that he wasn't afraid of potential jail time for filing a false police report. In response to backlash from his own YouTube fans, Boogie stated that he was glad he lied about being swatted, and he would continue to do so if it made his critics look bad. Surprisingly, Boogie somehow still had a legion of supporters, but what shocks me is the way Boogie handles criticism. In a now deleted video, Boogie made it very clear what he thought about these trolls.